Most people misunderstand what it means to love being alone. They hear the word alone and immediately think of loneliness, disconnection, sadness, avoidance. But psychology draws a very clear line between being alone and feeling lonely. And people who genuinely enjoy solitude live on the other side of that line. People who love being alone are not running away from others. They are returning to themselves. For them, solitude is not an absence. It is a state of clarity. When the noise fades, their thoughts finally arrange themselves. These individuals often experience the world more intensely than others. Crowds drain them. Constant conversation fragments their attention. Social performance costs energy. So when they are alone, something subtle but powerful happens. Their nervous system relaxes. Their breathing slows. Their inner dialogue becomes coherent again. This is not antisocial behavior. It's neurological self-regulation. Psychologically, many people who prefer solitude have highly sensitive or highly analytical minds. Their brains are always processing patterns, meanings, connections. Silence gives those processes space to finish. Another common misunderstanding is that people who love being alone don't value relationships. In reality, the opposite is often true. They care deeply, but selectively. They don't seek frequent interaction. They seek meaningful interaction. Small talk exhausts them. Performative socializing feels hollow. But when they choose to connect, they are fully present. People who love being alone usually have fewer relationships, but those relationships are remarkably deep. They listen carefully. They observe more than they speak. They remember details others miss, because they are not distracted by the need to impress. Solitude also plays a crucial role in how these individuals think. Alone time allows them to integrate experiences instead of reacting to them. They don't immediately label things as good or bad. They let events settle. This is why many of them appear calm, grounded, and self-aware. Not because life is easier for them, but because they process it more thoroughly. Another key trait is low fear of missing out. People who love being alone are rarely anxious about what they're not attending. They don't feel compelled to keep up with every conversation, trend, or gathering. Their satisfaction doesn't come from visibility. It comes from internal alignment. They know that overstimulation costs them more than it gives. There is also a strong link between solitude and creativity. When external input decreases, internal output increases. Ideas surface, questions deepen, insight sharpens. This is why so many writers, thinkers, artists, and strategists protect their alone time fiercely. They are not being distant, they are being intentional. Importantly, loving solitude does not mean avoiding growth. People who value alone time are often highly self-reflective. They examine their reactions. They question their motives. They notice patterns in their own behavior. This inward attention builds emotional maturity. However, because society often equates sociability with success, these individuals are frequently misunderstood. They may be labeled cold, uninterested, or even arrogant. In reality, they are simply conserving energy for what matters. People who love being alone also tend to be comfortable with silence in conversations. They don't rush to fill gaps. They don't panic when nothing is said. Silence doesn't threaten them, it informs them. They understand that not everything needs immediate expression. When they do speak, their words often carry weight, because they've already processed the thought. They don't speak to be noticed, they speak to be precise. One of the most powerful traits of people who enjoy solitude is emotional independence. They don't rely on constant validation to feel stable. They don't outsource their sense of worth. This doesn't mean they don't appreciate connection. It means they are not dependent on it. And perhaps most importantly, they are comfortable being with themselves. Many people avoid solitude because it forces confrontation with unresolved thoughts. People who love being alone have learned how to sit with their inner world without fear. They don't need distraction to escape it. This does not make them superior. It makes them different. And psychological differences are not flaws. They are adaptations. If you are someone who loves being alone, there is nothing wrong with you. You are not broken. You are not missing out. You simply recharge in silence rather than stimulation. And if you are someone who doesn't understand this preference, That's okay too. Different minds regulate energy differently. Understanding that difference is how we reduce judgment, both toward others and toward ourselves. If this video resonated with you, if you've ever felt misunderstood for enjoying your own company, consider subscribing to The Inner Observer. This channel explores the quiet psychological patterns behind everyday behavior, not to label, not to judge, but to understand. Sometimes, choosing to be alone is not a withdrawal from the world. It's how some minds stay whole within it.